Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Year 4 Maths for Friday, the 5th of February. And today you are going to be doing your review for Chapter 4. So we're coming to the end of the chapter, and today you're going to use all that fantastic learning of multiplication and division to help you solve all the problems today. So let's start our lesson off with a give me 5. So find yourself a timer, and here are your 5 questions. So pause the video, allow yourself 5 minutes to work out the problems. Okay, hopefully you've given yourself 5 minutes and you've managed to work through most of these problems this morning. And here are the answers. So give yourself a tick if you got them right. This one is a good one. So how many ones are in 83? And we know that is 83. So that was a trick one there. So well done if you got lots of those right this morning. Okay, so today we are going to be doing the Chapter 4 review. You are going to be using all of your multiplication and division skills to answer the questions in your workbook. But first, let's get those brains warmed up and let's think through these questions, okay? There are 4 different questions here that I would like you to just take 5 minutes to think about them. So you might want to write down an answer on a piece of paper or in your journal, or you might just want to have a think about the answers to these questions. So I'll read them out first, then you might want to pause the video, have a think about the answers. First one, what happens when we times a number by 0? Okay. Number 2, what happens when a number is divided by itself? For example, 5 divided by 5. What happens then? Number 3, what happens when a number is divided by 1? We just did a question, and I'll give me 5 using this. So hopefully be able to get this one. And then the last one, what are the steps to multiply a 3-digit number? So think back to a couple of weeks ago now when we were multiplying a 3-digit number. What are those key steps that we need to remember? So just pause the video, have a think about those questions, and then you can play it back in a moment. Okay, let's have a think then about the answers to these questions. First of all, this one, what happens when we times a number by 0? Well, when we times a number by 0, any number, the answer is always 0. So well done if you remembered that. Because if we're timing something by 0, nothing, then the answer is also going to be 0. Fantastic. Okay, number 2. What happens when a number is divided by itself? So, for example, 5 divided by 5. Well, 5 divided by 5, how many 5s are in the number 5? Well, that's 1. So that must mean when we divide a number by itself, so 6 divided by 6, the answer is always 1. Okay, so that's a good one to remember if you ever get a question like that. Fantastic. Okay, number 3, what happens when a number is divided by 1? So if we have a think about 5 divided by 1, how many 1s are in the number 5? Well, the answer is 5. So when we divide a number by 1, the answer is always going to be the number that we are dividing into. Okay, So if I think of another example, 11 divided by 1, the answer is 11 because there are 11 ones in the number 11. So the answer will always be the number that you are dividing into. That's a good one to remember as well. Okay, the last one. What are the steps to multiply a 3-digit number? So let's think back to a couple of weeks ago when we were multiplying a 3-digit number. What were those key steps? And the key steps are to make sure we times the ones, times the tens, times the hundreds, and then you add all of those amounts together. Okay? You may do it a different way. You may use a different method where you might just times the digits in the number. Okay, so you times the ones, times the tens, times the hundreds, and then you get your answer. But it's really important to times each number in that, each digit in that number. Okay, fantastic. So well done for remembering, because we've done lots of learning this chapter. So fantastic work. So there are 3 pages to your review today. So you've really got to think back to all of that amazing learning that you've been doing. Now, if I was feeling a bit stuck and I couldn't remember because it had been a long time since I last did some learning like this, then you can flick back through your workbook, look at your previous lessons and remind yourself of what you had to do. So let's go through the different questions that you've got to do today. So here you have got question A and question B, okay? And there's lots of boxes. Now, sometimes these boxes look a little bit scary because we just want to put the answer in this first one. But remember that equals, as well as equals, and then we put the answer, it also means the same as. So what is the same as doing 7 times 6? So what could we do as well in a different way to do 7 times 6? I think there's these add signs here, so that might give you a bit of a clue. Okay, and then number 2, you've got to match the problems at the top to the answers at the bottom. So work them all out first and then match the correct answer. Some you may be able to see straight away. So we've just gone through a key tip for this question. Okay, then onto the second page, we've got question 3 where you can think back to how we multiply a 3-digit, a 2-digit number. So we've just gone through some key steps there previously. So try and remember what are the the key steps that we have to do when we are multiplying. Then question 4, I want you to think back to how we divide a 2-digit and a 3-digit number. Okay, so looking at this division method here that we've looked at closely recently. Okay, if you're not sure, remember, go back through your workbook to remind yourself of how to do this method here. And then finally, there are 2 questions on the last page that are word problems. Okay, we've done lots of work on word problems this week. So think about how we solve word problems. So let's think of some key tips we can think of to help us solve these sort of problems out. Well, we can highlight important information. We can draw a bar model to help us visualize the problem, to have a think about what are the steps that we have got to do. Okay, so really think carefully about these problems here. Okay, so now you can go off, give yourself plenty of time to complete the review, and remember, if you're stuck, use that amazing learning that you've been doing for the past few weeks to look back, and it will help. Okay, so I want to pause the video now and have a go at the worksheet. Okay, hopefully you found the worksheet, the review, really easy. Okay, and you've used all your amazing learning to help you solve all the problems, which I'm sure you all have been able to do well. So now, if you've finished your worksheet, you might want to challenge yourself even further by completing these extension questions. So we've got some more word problems over here, okay, and here are some reasoning questions for you to do, okay, and I can see some key vocabulary in these questions that you need to think about when you're answering. So justify your answer, explain and correct it, convince me. These questions want you to explain, okay? They don't just want they don't just want the answer, they want you to prove it, explain. So you might want to write an explanation, or you can draw out the problem and show why you think that is the correct answer, okay? So if you're ready to challenge yourself, then have a go at these extensions. If you finish the worksheet and you finish the extension and you are ready to mark, then carry on watching this video because we're going to go through the answers now. Okay, so here are the answers to the first page of the review. So you can see here at the top that it was wanting you to put that 7 times 6 is the same as repeated addition of the number 6. And the same here, repeated addition of 7, the same answer. Okay, and here it's just writing it in the other way. 7 times 6 is the same as doing 6 times 7, and we know that. Okay, this one's a little bit more tricky, but we can see that 7 times 8 we need to do first, which is 56, and then we can times 3. So again, remembering that it's the same as. We can see here it's 56, add 56, add 56. Okay, and here we go. Here are the questions matched up to the correct answers. So hopefully you've got lots of those right. Okay, and then the second page. So hopefully you remembered those key steps where we times the ones, we times the tens, and then we add those answers back together. Okay, and then for divide, we're using this long division method. Okay, if you used a slightly different method, then that's absolutely fine, but as long as we've got this correct answer. Okay, well done, because some of these were really tricky. And then the last page, we've got our word problems. So we can see here that they've used a bar model to help them visualize the problem. So well done if you also were able to draw a bar model to help you. It might look slightly different, that's okay. And then if you wrote your answer in a sentence as well, to make sure we're answering the question. Okay, fantastic. So well done. We've completed chapter 4 now. You're all superstars at multiplying and dividing. So big well done to everyone.